We don't yet know exactly what will happen today when it comes to the swearing in of lying Republican Congressman-elect George Santos, but it is now not only U.S. criminal investigation that Santos is under. Having now found out where he is, Brazil has restarted its criminal investigation of the very same George Santos. This is unbelievable. Or not unbelievable, as we've learned about this guy. The New York Times reports Brazilian authorities will revive a fraud case against George Santos. A 2008 court case had been suspended because Brazilian law enforcement couldn't find Santos. When he takes his seat, he will do so under the shadow of active investigations by federal and local prosecutors, but an older criminal case may be more pressing. This stems from a 2008 incident involving a stolen checkbook. Just like a pedestrian alleged criminal is this guy. And the case had been suspended for the better part of a decade, writes the New York Times, because the police couldn't find him. Spokeswoman for the Rio prosecutor's office said that with Santos's whereabouts identified, a formal request will be made to the DOJ to notify him of the charges, a necessary step after which the case will proceed with or without him. The criminal case in Brazil was first disclosed to the New York Times in a New York Times investigation that uncovered broad discrepancies in his resume. I love that term. There were discrepancies. What is it he is accused of doing in Brazil? It's the following. A month before his 20th birthday, Santos entered a small clothing store in the Brazilian city of Niterói, outside of Rio. He spent nearly $700 using a stolen checkbook and a false name, court records show. He admitted the fraud to the shop owner in 2009, writing on Orkut, a popular social media website in Brazil, quote, "I know I screwed up, but I want to pay." In 2010, he and his mother told the police he used the stolen checkbook of a man his mother used to work for and made fraudulent purchases. So this is just a horrible, horrible person. And we don't exactly know what's going to happen today, although he almost certainly will be seated. And you may even know about that by the time today's show goes live. But we now have a situation where the Brazilian government conveniently knows exactly where to find him. This is what Kevin McCarthy gets, or whoever, right, for refusing to expel this clown and say, you know what? Too much dishonesty. Too concerning, too disturbing what he did. Now Republicans are going to have to deal with, or stonewall and pretend it's not going on, what's going on with George Santos. And it is quite a humiliating cloud. Now, will they care? I don't know. But we're talking about someone with outstanding warrants in another country, essentially, and under criminal investigation in the United States. If we want to be conspiratorial, and we never do, except sometimes we speculate, is it possible that Santos made a promise to McCarthy in McCarthy's fight for the speakership, which is, as of this moment that I am recording today, not a guarantee? We will know more about that within hours. Is it possible Santos promised to back McCarthy if McCarthy promised not to try to get him kicked out of Congress? It's a question. It's not an assertion that I believe that happened, but it is certainly a sensible question given the circumstances. We don't yet know whether Kevin McCarthy will have all the votes he needs to be speaker. And the question of loyalty between these two afterwards seems very, very uncertain. The other aspect to this is there are increasingly questions about the large amounts of money funneled through the Santos campaign that suggested that he maybe had a source of funds that was unclear. It didn't really line up with his fake claims about where he used to work. I don't know. But once we now know, although this is petty in a sense, he was 19 years old in Brazil talking about $700. He clearly is willing to get up to some hijinks. And if he was willing to do this at age 19, what is it he may have been willing to do over the last year or two with regard to the $700,000 that now is a question mark in terms of the donation he made to his own campaign? A couple people emailed me and said, what about extradition? Is it possible the U.S. would extradite him to Brazil? I don't know. I wasn't able to talk to any lawyers about this. We do have a treaty on extradition that has been ratified by the U.S. and Brazil, signed in 1961, published in 1964. And I don't know how plausible it really is to think Santos might be extradited to Brazil. But this is the epitome of the Republican Party in 2023. Grifters, alleged criminals, and people who are going to spend the next 2 years, starting today, trying to impeach Joe Biden, trying to investigate Hunter Biden. It starts today, and we really better be ready to know how to deal with it. It's not clear to me that the Democratic Party is actually prepared.